All right, so it's recording. Brian,
What's up, man?
what's up? We're just gonna free flow. I just thought, okay, we're gonna turn on the camera, turn on the mics. So I had you on. So what made you want to come on? And what made you comfortable? Remember, talking to the mic. Okay?
Yeah.
What made you want to, come out and then just put yourself on the camera and talk on the mic?
Just hanging out.
Just hanging out?
Just straight up, yeah. Seeing what my homie Brandon's up to. And I was like, all right, I'll join you. I've been pretty active as well, like going to events and stuff like that for work. So, really just trying to build content and everything as well. Get some momentum in that space. And that's
try to closer. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's
as
just,
close as you can. Yeah.
That's kind of just how it goes now, you got to market yourself regardless of what industry you're in, and for real estate and for mortgages, it's pretty important. It's a contact sport. So constantly calling people, constantly meeting up with people. Yeah.
Right. That's basically what my coach Albert said. He's like, instead of, most people, if they don't have a personal brand, if people don't know you, you're gonna have to call people. You have to go out there. You have to reach out. But if you have a following, all you do is post on the social media and people come to you because they already know you, like you, trust you.
Okay.
Right? But I was gonna ask you about that. Like, what was the purpose of you wanting to be more out there? Because I did see you created like an Instagram.
Yeah. No, that's
right?
a good question. So, like you said, right? With social media, you could leverage, your brand and yourself, right, to really build that following and a community that is going to be interested in the topics you're sharing. In mortgages, you're just, as you cold call so much, right? And you're always constantly reaching out to people. It's like, yeah, why can't we shift the paradigm and have people come out to you? So that's why I was open to kind of doing this. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah. Like, got to pretty much advertise.
That's right. That is the new game. If you think about like these people with personal brands, Rihanna, Kylie Jenner, like they will have a huge personal brand and overnight they open a business and it's boom, $1 billion business.
Yeah.
Isn't that how Kylie became a billionaire?
I mean, I don't know the full context of how she kind of came about. Obviously, she comes from a a known family and all that fun stuff. They had history. All the sisters do something, right? But yeah, she definitely leveraged that, and then one thing led to another. And dude, she's loaded. Like she's doing really well, probably.
Yeah, I mean, even if she had a big advantage compared to everyone else, the first moment she got on TV was like 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Way long ago, right? So even though, yes, she does have that advantage, or she came from a, wealthy family, she still had to put in her time so that people knew her, like her, trust her, her personal brand.
Yeah, of course.
It still takes a lot of time. And of that upfront work you do, everything else after that, when people know you after 10 years, you just been at it for a long time, everything becomes easy.
Yeah.
It's just easier.
And for sure, you don't see the work she put in behind the scenes, obviously,
Right,
there's a lot that went into it. But I like how you mentioned that, like, people are going to do business with someone they know, like, and trust. That's just how it works, right? I know when I was in mortgages, when I got started and got licensed, and you had to pretty much, you had to get like their mortgage statement just to verify their information, their payments, all that fun stuff. Most people, they don't even remember who their servicer is or who they're paying. They're just like, yeah, I really don't know who the loan got sold off to or where it's going. I just want to could you tell me and make sure it's going to my principal amount? Like, it's getting paid?
Mm.
And then that's when I kind of realized, like, okay, yeah, it does matter a bit what company you work for, but a lot of these folks, they don't even care. They really don't care which company it's for. It's like, wait, who's the loan officer or who's the realtor that's helping put this together? Who do I know, like, and trust and want to do business with? And who do I see actually bringing this transaction, to the finish line?
Awesome.
So that's kind of why I was like, you know what? Yeah, I need to kind of be more out there. I need to market myself more, and kind of just go about it myself if I want to pursue this for the long term.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what got you into mortgages? Have you always been in finance, or
yeah,
why'd you want to step into mortgages?
Great question. I could talk forever, but just to add some context, right? I've been in lending for about 7 years, mainly consumer lending. Started off really kind of just was doing sales prior to that. Got a degree in environmental health just because I liked it, like it was interesting. But honestly, there wasn't really money to be made there. So a friend referred me over to do personal loans. So that's how I kind of got into lending. And then after that, did that for a bit, went into like business loans. And then COVID happened. Crazy stuff started happening with like rates and everything going on in the market. And the next logical step was like, okay, well, mortgages are popping, consumer loans, residential. It's just going off the charts with rates being so low. So I got into mortgages during the refi boom from like the end of 2020 to like 2022. And yeah, it's just like, I didn't think I was going to be in it for a while. I did take a break from it, but man, it's fun. There's so much you could do with a home and that type of asset class. So, yeah.
Okay, so right now we're about 32. We're early 30s, right? So we're getting
Right.
to the point where our friends are thinking about buying houses, and
Yeah.
so why would someone want to own a house rather than rent? And mortgages help with owning. Is that what it like? How would you explain it? Mortgages.
Yeah. So there's different types of debt, right? There's gonna be secured debt and unsecured debt. A secured debt or a secured loan would be like a mortgage, an auto loan, or something that you're gonna use collateral, right? To secure that type of financing. Unsecured debt would be like your credit cards, your student loans, stuff that doesn't really require collateral and is typically going to have higher interest. So, to answer that question, why you would want to buy versus rent, really, it's a loaded question because there are so many different aspects to that question. Like, some folks have a different appetite with what they want to do with their money and how they their lifestyle, right? So now more than ever, you have people that are, working from home. They want to travel. They might not really care about owning a home. They'd rather just like, I'm going to rent here. I'm going to Airbnb there. I'm going to work overseas. Owning a home might not make sense for them, right? Because at the end of the day, you're taking on this massive amount of debt, right? It's going to have interest and everything. You're going to pay it over a span of 30 years. And who knows? No one knows where they're going to be in 30 years. Now, someone that actually wants to be a homeowner, it could be an emotional thing or their upbringing might have affected them. Like, oh, hey, we've never had a home growing up. We were always like going from apartment to apartment. I mean, I hear it all, right? Various stories with different clients. And then some people just don't believe in paying rent. They're like, I keep paying the landlord, like, and then rent keeps increasing. Like, I don't like that uncertainty. Like, I just want a fixed payment and I want to own something. I want a slice of the pie. I want property, right? So it's a loaded question. It really depends. Some folks want to build a family, start a family, and they don't like that uncertainty of having to be in an apartment. It might not be like enough space for them. They want like their own front yard, their own backyard, whatever. They want to build an ADU to bring in their grandma. Like, it's endless. So many different possibilities. And that's what makes it fun, I guess, right? Because no scenario is really the same. You'll rarely get the same case or, a client that's doing the same thing as the other client. Everyone's situation is different.
Interesting. Now, one question that I have about mortgages, I want to know your opinion.
Yeah.
This is a like in the finance world, people are asking, should you pay down your mortgage?
Define paying down.
Paying down is okay. You have $300,000 owed to your house.
Okay.
You have $300,000 in cash.
Okay.
Now there's a question out there. People say, should you use that $300,000 to pay down your debt? So what would you say? What would you I'm just giving you that. I'm just giving you that information. I'm not giving you interest rate. I'm not giving you anything. I'm getting like, what is your answer to that? Should you pay down your mortgage if you have the cash?
I love that question because it's asked all the time. There's two different school of thoughts of how to go with your money, how much you want in reserves. Why do you even have a mortgage? Why aren't you using that to do something else, right? And the way I kind of view money and loans, it's like at the end of the day, how much do you want to keep and how much do you want to pay the bank? You got to remember, so mortgages are on an amortization schedule. So whatever the term you do it for, let's say you do it for 30 years, typically the beginning half of it is going to be all more interest loaded, and you're really just paying the bank. You're actually not paying much into owning the home. So there's a million things you could do, right? Let's say you have a good tax person, you have a good financial advisor. You could write off those taxes as well, the interest you're paying. It could get really technical, but to just answer your question, like if I owed 300K left and I had 300K in reserves, I would really have to look at, okay, what else would I be doing with this 300K, right? What's the benefit of me paying and owning a house? Like, am I going to be paying any more interest on it? Are the taxes going to get better? Okay, as opposed to with 300K cash ready, what could I do? Well, I could start a business, right? I could donate to charity or whatever you believe in. You could help a family or friend with whatever they need help with. It's just, what are you going to do with those reserves? You could put it in the market. You could buy another house, right? Most of the time, though, folks that have 300K in cash, they're not going to pay down that mortgage. The whole idea is to really...
That's it right there.
That's the
so
thing.
True. That's true.
The reason why you went at it for 30 years is because you don't know kind of also where you're going to be in 30 years. That's why a big question we always ask as a mortgage professional when you're talking to a client is like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Is this your forever home? What's your retirement looking like? Oh, you have kids. Are they going to be going to college? Are they going to be staying at home with you guys? Or are they going to be going somewhere else? And really, those questions are just to gauge like, okay, in 10 years, when you're in this phase of the loan, what are you going to do? How much equity have you built? How much interest have you paid off? Are you trying to buy a yacht? You know, people like to buy stuff. People like to go on vacation. So, and it's crazy. Mortgage debt, they say, is the best debt because you could tap into it, use that equity to do other things, right? So finance your business, help out a friend. I mean, it's endless, the things you could do with that type of capital. But everyone's different. Everyone has a different, investment style, risk appetite. Everyone's different.
That's totally true because let's say if you're part of the Dave Ramsey crowd,
oh yes,
you know, where he's like, no debt, no consumer debt,
right.
And so the people who does listen to Dave Ramsey and don't have much of a risk appetite, they would say, okay, I'm gonna use that 300K, I'm gonna be debt free. I'm gonna pay off my mortgage. I got my house paid off.
Right.
And then there's the other crowd where, you know, let's say they have a higher risk appetite. They're like,
right.
You know what? This 300K, I could put it into the market. I can, you know, make a better return on that than my interest.
Yeah.
But then again, that also is not that easy just to be like, oh, I have 300K. Oh, I could just put it in the stock market. You have to study as well. So there's risk to it.
I always butcher his name, Rich Dad, Poor Dad author.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, I have $1 billion in debt. Yeah. I don't care. Debt is money.
Right. So there's
I'm not paying.
So really there's so that's what I was saying when it's like, there's two school of thoughts, right? There's Dave Ramsey's very risk adverse.
Risk adverse.
Yeah. Right. And then there's Robert where it's just kind of like, hey, we live in a world of debt. Why aren't you utilizing debt? There's good debt. There's bad debt. Why don't you use it to your advantage? Right.
It really is people have different trains of thought.
Right.
So for some people, thinking of just being 100K in debt, like, oh my God, I owe my student loans, I own this, and they just see the number like, oh my God, I'm that much in debt. They get anxious.
Right.
But there's some people who look at it, I'm like, oh, if I just make it, I just pay off the monthly, that's fine. Whatever. Yeah. Don't think about the interest or whatever. or they have the money in the market. They know that money is going to get even compound more than the interest rate on their loan.
Right.
Is because they actually understand what they're invested in. But yeah, it's just different people.
It's super interesting.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's why I've decided to kind of stick around in it. You know, I have other aspirations too, but I see it very long term because that's not going away. the need for housing is, if anything, it's more desirable than ever. It's just the affordability of it, right? Depending on where you're located too. Southern California, hyper competitive, right? No inventory. Things are just constantly appreciating. I don't think things are going to go down anytime soon at all. The demand's too strong. As much as, there's always news about like, oh, the exodus, people are leaving California, it's too pricey. Yeah, people are leaving that can't afford it, but there's definitely a swarm of people coming in that want to be here and have money and are ready to pay. So
That's the thing with California. All of the bad stuff that we hear, it's all online. You know how, let's say if you don't agree with the politics, you don't agree with, the government, the city, or the people. But when you actually live in California and you experience the weather and you go to the beach and you see that everything is available to you, you want to go snowboarding, just go to.
dude,
It's amazing.
yeah.
California is worth the money. But I do understand where people could save, the highest income earners could literally save tens of millions if they just move states.
Yeah, like if they go to Texas
So
or something.
it depends
more
on
tax
your
friendly.
situation, right?
Exactly. No, and that's what it boils down to. But there's situations too where, like during COVID, right? People left. I got some clients that left. They went to Idaho. They're from California, SoCal. Like, what Idaho? Everyone's going out there. It's like another Fountain Valley, bro. I'm like, really? Is it really though? There's no water near Idaho. Like, there's no ocean or anything. And now they're interested in coming back because they're just like, yeah, it's just my family's here. The food's whack. Yeah, the infrastructure's not really there. The weather's nice, but there's just not that much options, right? And it's just like, look, see, like, yeah, you might be saving X amount on cost of living, but proximity, accessibility, these things that, actually matter from your day-to-day life.
It's priceless.
You can't really put a dollar amount on it.
Like you've lived outside of California for a while. I live outside of California for a little bit.
Right.
So we had the experience.
We didn't even last a year, huh? Wherever we went
No,
to.
I barely last like 3 months. I came back like, God, I love Cali.
Yeah.
How was your experience going? You live in Washington.
Yeah, so I was pretty young when I made that move. Really just needed a gap year and was very curious as to what was out there. Nothing wrong with Washington. Honestly, it's a beautiful state. I love how green it is. I love how friendly people are. No state income tax. At the time, property values were amazing during that time. So this was like probably 10 years ago. Should have bought a house there. But the state's great. But one thing, being born and raised in California and getting the sunshine like 90% of the time, it's like the opposite in Washington. And when you don't get that vitamin D, it gets to your head, man. Like, and I like colder climate, right?
Like seasonal affective disorder is an actual thing.
It's real. You don't know it until you're there and you're making that adjustment, right? Because prior to me making that move, I was visiting my buddy and like seeing if it's like, okay, is this something I could do? And when you go for like a weekend or a week, that's nothing, right? It's a walk in the park. But when you're there for like the full season or the whole year, and that's not even that long, right? And you see like, wow, the Seattle gloom is real, dude. Like, it's just cloudy, overcast, 9 months.
But the thing about it, the air is crisp.
Oh,
amazing air. Let's say that.
Yeah, it's like night and day difference from here. You just, right when you get to like the topper part of Oregon and into Washington, you're like, oh, my lungs, they feel great. Yeah, it's easy to breathe.
Well, there's something to say about being in, California. There's a bunch of people. The economy is just better. It's the hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
Right. I know I went to Oklahoma, and they've also had similar things to Cali, but it's just not the same. They had their own Vietnamese corner similar to this, but it's just not. It's not the same. You can't compare. You can't compare to Cali. You can't. But another thing, bro, that I'm super interested about you. was that, back in the day when you said you went to Washington, you were a young guy, you're probably drinking a lot, whatever. But now, how long have you been sober?
Shoot, man. I kind of lost track because I've just kind of been in this groove of things. But I have this app called I Am Sober, and I am approaching 630 days.
630. That's almost 2 years.
Yeah, so it's exactly at 627 as of today. Let's just divide it by 31. It's about 20 months.
That's a big number.
Almost 2 years. Yeah.
That's a big number.
Yeah, man.
Congratulations.
Thanks, bro.
And that's sober of everything.
Completely. No cannabis, no alcohol, no cigarettes, vapes, nothing. Like just.
Hey, the vapes is a big one. The vapes, I've gone off the vapes, and it's just, I don't know, man. You feel nasty hitting that.
I think it's
But then you always wanted to, like it'd be like, oh, good, and then after after the first 5 seconds, I feel like shit.
I think it's so new and so unregulated. We don't know the true effects of it yet, but
from the moment you hit it.
Oh yeah, like
after you hit that, get nicotine and it goes down, you're like, dude, I feel like my body just fighting something.
Like, I mean, just think about it, right? When you think of like something getting vaporized, like it's kind of like, whoa, you're just burning stuff up. Like,
and it's not only the thing. What are they putting in there that makes it vaporize?
Sugars.
Vegetable glycerin. It's not. It's not even real sugars. It's artificial sweeteners.
Right, which is gnarly.
And they're all making it from China. It's all coming from China. How do you think they get those things to the $15-$20? They're all making it from China. And but okay, so the thing that's great about being sober is that it's hard to do, bro. Not a lot of people can do it. Yeah. Even I tried to do being sober. I couldn't. I started drinking. Yeah. I started drinking again.
Wait. Time out. How was? Because I know you were trying to go to your trip with your family completely sober, right?
Yeah.
And I was just like,
no, I couldn't do it.
Bro, why? You're going on vacation. Like, that's wild.
But you did it while on vacation.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be like, okay. If Brian, no, I'm not saying if Brian can do it, I can't. It was more, wow, I wanted to experience Brian's. How did Brian do it?
Yeah.
So I did it, and I'm like, I don't know. You feel it's a big culture of drinking in Vietnam. When you say, oh, I'm not drinking, they're like, how could you not be drinking? Like what? You're like they literally make you feel. Dude, you're letting me down. Like, how can you come home to Vietnam and you not drink?
Trust me, that was the same perception that a lot of I met a lot of Kim's friends and just folks in the city, and they're just like, "Oh, you're American, awesome, let's drink, like let's party, bro. You're visiting here, damn, you're here for a month, dude. I'll show you all the spots. We have the best clubs, best bars. Filipino people, super friendly, super open, super." It's just awesome, right? And I was just like, no, I don't drink. They're like, what? Well, what have you been doing this whole time then? Like, what are you up to? And I'm like, I'm just visiting my girl, like sightseeing and all that stuff. And it's funny because they go hard, man. I'm pretty sure it's the same in Vietnam, like Southeast Asian culture. They just party till 6 a.m.
Yeah, because every other drug there is completely illegal. You go to jail. You could even get killed or something.
Right?
Like it's a huge offense. So they're like, okay, drinking's legal. Yeah, I might go in jail for 10+ years just for doing another drug. So
shit.
Yeah, they drink the party hard. So what are the biggest benefits that you see to being sober? And is there anything that you miss?
Okay, yeah, for sure. We'll start with what I miss first.
Okay.
What I miss is the social aspect of it, for sure. I mean, it's just nice to catch up with a friend or, even business, right? Sometimes you're gonna go to events or things like that, and it's like, okay, sometimes the alcohol or whatever party favor of choice you're using, it might kind of just even the playing field, and you kind of get on the same frequency as someone, right? There's like a lot of, I guess what I miss about drinking too, there's like a big connection. It's very tribal, right? It's like, hey, I brought something here to share with you. Let's enjoy it together and let's break bread. Let's talk business. Let's talk life. Let's catch up, whatever. So I miss that. I do miss that. But that's about it.
What would you
That's
say?
really
Okay,
about it.
even like, yes, I totally understand that. End of the day, though, I feel that's about 10% of people's drinking experience. If people drink, I don't know about other people, okay? They do it
People
socially,
drink for
fine.
all different reasons.
Yeah. When I drink, I say about 80 to 90% of the time, I just do it by myself. So, yes, I do believe there's a big benefit to drinking with other people, said breaking bread. But at the same time, if you do get into drinking, I would have to say there's a lot of people who just do it by themselves, and is that cost worth the benefit?
I see.
Right?
No, for me personally, because there's so much other stuff you could do. If you're drinking to kind of just, I mean, like if you're winding down or whatever, teach their own, right?
Teach their own.
Whatever.
Exactly. At the end of the day,
Teach
dude,
their
at the
own.
end of the day, no matter how opinionated I am, how much I'll say what I want, I'll say on the internet, end of the day, you live however you want to live. I really do not.
Right.
I really do not mind. I just say it just because that's how I would want to live my life. That's how
Right.
I would want to raise my family, the values. But if you do not agree with it, dude, I am so fine with other people doing whatever they want to do.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think some people get too emotionally triggered when they, they're very reactive when they see something online or they hear something right away. They're just like, "Oh, what the hell? He really said that, bro?" Like, dude, what he said isn't going to end your life. It's not going to end the world. It's just his opinion. He's sharing his story. You either vibe with it or you don't, right? Like,
All I know, hey, at the end of the day, the greatest thing about social media, there's an unfollow button. Okay, if you don't like what people say, just unfollow. Like it's not really that big of a deal.
dude, there's a bunch of buttons now. You can mute people.
Yeah, you can mute them, you can block them, you can unfollow. Dude, it's all good. Like that's the beauty of social media, and
Right.
like what Elon's going after. Just like he just wants the people to have the right to say what they want. Whether you're offended or not, that's your problem.
Yeah.
If you're offended by what someone says on the internet, bro, that's your problem. It's something is triggered in you.
It's almost like the people that are very reactive and like have something to say, they're triggered and there's something in them that's bringing it out. Like, okay, well, what's bothering you? Like, why don't you open up a bit? Like, what's going on, right?
No, it's true. I think it's true.
Why else would you reply? And
like have you
fight the
ever,
battle?
like, let's say I lean more conservative, and I will see someone, post about something very liberal, right, where I don't agree with. I have never in my life, like, I don't think I have, but responded to them like, "Oh no, you're wrong, this and that," or like even unfollow them. I'm like, okay, you know what? They're part of the other spectrum. I just don't agree with them. They're part of the other spectrum. I don't agree with them, but I don't ever become offended. Maybe I'll think something in my head like, "Oh man, this person they're lost" or whatever. But other than that, I don't go out and respond. I don't know.
Right.
Have you ever?
Nah, man. Like, I find it entertaining, honestly. Like I love reading through comments and people's replies, and it's just like, whoa, like you're thinking of it that way? Like I would have never thought of it that way, And it's and that's the beauty of free speech, right? Everyone is entitled to, their own opinions and everything.
Right.
So I'm all for it. It's just, why do you have to get so emotionally invested and take it way up, way up the butt? But everyone's different, whatever.
Actually, okay, I do remember there was a time in my life where I would be part of YouTube comments. And the only reason was because I had to fight up against vegans. Like vegans were like, these meat eating, blah, blah, blah. They don't, they're all unhealthy. And it's like, bro, and I had to like just say, oh, meat, this is, and you would literally just get sucked into like, oh, waiting for the response, getting the response and like writing an essay. And after a while, I'm like, man, it's just, you never change someone's mind,
Yeah.
You never change someone's mind arguing with them online.
Yeah.
We need more of this.
Kind of even forgot what we're talking about. Oh, sobriety.
No. I think we ended with you're never gonna change someone's mind online.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Online arguments.
It
No
led
one
into
really,
that.
yeah, no one's really gonna change their mind. What do you think about going online? Do you have any anxiety, anxious, nervous about putting yourself out there?
Oh, like doing this stuff,
Yeah.
or like,
Or just going on Instagram, just talking about stuff. What
oh,
because
that's yeah. It's no, that's a great question. I'll be completely transparent. Like, I think I'm a lot more introverted now than I was 10 years ago, hands down. Like, I used to not really care, whatever, post whatever, do whatever, and then over time, you're just kind of like, well, what's the perception, right?
yeah.
Um, and oh, is it recording?
No, yeah, it's recorded. I just want to put it in a nice frame. So I gotta make it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now your frame is looking amazing.
I guess like, I don't know why I kind of started thinking like, well, what do other folks think about me, right?
That's a
And
huge thing.
And then at the end of the day, though, like you said, it's like, who cares? No one cares, right? And that's when I kind of it was recently, actually, probably 6 months ago. I was just like, yeah, dude, who cares? Like, what does it matter? Like, at the end of the day, I'm trying to do the best I can. The mission is to help folks out, achieve the dream of home ownership, or, really tap into their equity to resolve whatever financial matters they need to resolve. And yeah, just want to do what I can every day for folks and for myself and my family, right?
And let me tell you something, bro. Everyone goes through that. I'm scared of what people, or just let's just okay. I'm scared of what others think of me. Oh, if I put this up, what are they gonna think of me? Number one, people aren't really thinking about you. They'll view it.
Yeah, why not?
They'll think about it.
You're not working hard enough, or they're not thinking about you.
I mean, no,
I'm just kidding. I'm messing around.
I totally know what you mean, but at the end of the day, yes, people aren't caring about you because they mostly care about themselves.
100%.
And even when you say, dude, I get that all the time. When I post something, like an hour, even just when I post it and like 30 minutes later, I'm like, damn, bro, what if I'm offending this person? Because there's people out there that I truly care about.
Yeah.
And let's say I am opinionated on this matter. Like, I'm like, what are they thinking? I hope they don't think that I'm talking about them or just, I get that too, bro. I definitely get that. But at the end of the day, yeah, you guys not care about that. Or just realize for what it is, that people aren't really caring about you.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be online and you're going to be actually telling people, being who you are online, you're guaranteed to have people who don't like you.
Yeah. I mean, no, so that's the thing, right? That's kind of the epiphany a few months ago. It was just like, one, who cares? Two, you're gonna play the game. There's gonna be trials and tribulations. You're gonna have folks that vibe with you. You're gonna have folks that are totally against you. That's just the nature of the beast, right?
Bro, the worst place to be is no one caring about you at all.
Yeah, or
right? No one even knows you.
I mean, and like some people prefer it that way, right?
I totally understand.
Yeah.
Like I said before, bro. Like,
right.
Do whatever you want. Well, if you don't want to be online, I see great value in that too.
Right.
I see immense value in just being off the grid, not being online. That's totally cool. But if you're gonna go into the opposite direction, which is actually be online and have a presence, you better take what comes with it as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's just what it is. If you're gonna go out in the battlefield and play the game, be prepared for whatever comes at you, and that's what I realized. Right. It's just like, okay, well, I'm not necessarily in an industry where I'm not like an underwriter or someone that is like very behind the scenes doing very like just technical work in the background, right? Where I don't need to interact with as many people. It's the opposite. I actually have to be interacting with a lot of different people on the buy side, the sell side, clients. I got to, there's a lot of marketing involved. There's a lot of different aspects to it. And And yeah, you just embrace it. You just do the best you can, really. And that's why I decided to kind of go the route I went with mortgages too. So there's, mortgages is a very unsexy thing, right? No one wakes up and is like, "Oh, dude, how much you paying for your mortgage?" Like, come on, dude. Like, that's the last thing. That's the last thing you want to be reminded of. It's like, oh, rent's due, or a monthly payment is due, right?
Right.
Like, no one wants to be reminded of that ever. So when you're doing something like this, it's not even to make it fun. It's more so just to like, hey, look, here's the beauty and the benefits of having this type of secure debt. Here's what you could do with it. Did you know, right? Like, you could do a lot with this. You could pay off a lot of stuff. You could, really gain appreciation over time, right? By acquiring property, investing, all that fun stuff. And yeah, that's kind of what it's about, You're gonna have so many people online like hating all the time and having different school of thoughts of like going into debt or being a homeowner or whatever. And it's valid too. A lot of that stuff, I'm like, yeah, I kind of agree with you. Like, you don't know where you're gonna be at in 5 years. Like, what if you and your girl split? I don't know. Like, you have like an epiphany, and you're like, yo, you know what? I want to go travel the world, change occupations. Like, things could change. But one thing that doesn't go wrong when you're looking at the market, it's investing and acquiring stuff, especially like an asset class like a house in a desirable area, great location, good schooling, all that fun stuff, great community. That doesn't really go downhill. So
No, I get it. And then what you mentioned earlier about mortgages not being sexy. Well, I mean, that's a lot of businesses. A lot of
Right.
businesses is not sexy, but that is the power of what we are talking about. Social media, go online. You can make it sexy. You can make it entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
What's so sexy? I mean, that's a bad example. I was gonna say lipstick. What's so sexy about lipstick? It's just shit you put on your lips, but
You know what's crazy?
all the marketing behind it.
You know what's crazy? Like, again, to each their own. But I've never been that like someone wearing lipstick. I've never been like more enticed, like, or like more intrigued by that. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, cool, another type of makeup, But it doesn't like.
I mean, if it goes together with the whole look, yes. I mean, if you look at before and after pic of a girl with lipstick and without, or the same girl, she probably looks better with lipstick, and it's just evolutionary psychology. The red lips is usually like a female's lips get more red as they're ovulating.
Really?
Something of that nature, yes. It's animalistic. That's why we see the more colored lips as more attractive. Because it has to do with evolutionary psychology. And why do girls put on makeup to make their skin look smoother? Sign of health, sign of more attractive. It all has to do with, like, we're just literally animals, so we're literally monkeys, and whatever we see, we just, attraction is not a choice. We're just attracted to it. There's no logical thinking behind it.
Wow.
Right? It's just clues to give us like, oh, this person is mate worthy. Okay. But yeah, I follow this account, mortgage, like this, what's a mortgage on Instagram?
Okay, yeah.
People, that's the thing, bro. You got to get online. You got to have a campaign, a creative campaign. What's going to be your Ferrari moment? Your Ferrari. Hey, I got a Ferrari. Like, how are you going to be different from anyone else instead of just the same guy getting on the camera, just talking about the same basic stuff? Like,
Right.
Spice it up. Ty Lopez even said, you got to put some sugar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, put some sugar into your marketing.
How are you gonna grab attention?
Exactly. How you gonna grab attention? That's a good one. All right, man. Hey, what do you think about that? Well, I say we just wrap it up.
Oh yeah, we can wrap it up.
Yeah, well, hey, we start off like this. We'll have an even better setup next time. I'll have 3 cameras, maybe a assistant switching on the cameras. This is just a go. We're giving it a go. Are you thinking about doing anything with this content? Like, take it, edit it, put on the.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. Really, I think you and I were kind of talking about it. Like, okay, what's like, is it better to kind of just do random stuff, or is it better to like have it all planned and like, have this whole marketing campaign and all that fun
Dude,
stuff?
that's true. Let's huddle right now because I've heard two areas of thought. One, Patrick Bet Davis said that at first, when no one knows you, go very narrow. That's how you get people. Very narrow, and then you could go broaden out.
Okay.
And which I see works because I will follow accounts that don't have many followers, but all they talk about is one topic. I'm like, oh, I like them because they talk about this one topic. Let me follow them. Number two is Joe Rogan style. Bro, Joe Rogan. But you could also argue that Joe Rogan was very niche at first, just comedy.
Right.
He did the martial arts, comedy. He did the podcast or Fear Factor. Then he did the podcast, whatever.
Right.
But Joe Rogan just talks about stuff that Joe Rogan likes, and people just know if you think about aliens, health, jiu-jitsu, you think about martial arts, MMA, you think about bears, who's the first one that comes to mind? Joe Rogan. It's just that's his personal brand because that's just him being authentic. So at the end of the day, bro, either if you want to go narrow or broad, as long as you do it in a long time frame, that is the secret sauce. Just how long are you able to do it?
Right. And being consistent, right? Like,
exactly.
Constantly just being online, being present, gaining that exposure, right? Providing value. It's huge. It's important.
Yeah, as far as strategy, I would say going narrow at first and just going something deep is better for building a personal brand. But either way, bro, like I said, action is better than inaction.
Every time.
Yeah, but action is better than planning for the perfect strategy.
Yeah, because really, even if you fail, right, and that does happen, right? Nothing's ever perfect. At least you learn from it. And how are you going to go about it next time, right?
Right.
So.
And even just doing this, bro, like people don't understand the power of you just having 200 people see your stuff. Like, that's a big number. If you had 2 people in front of your head, in front of your face, and you're speaking in front of a crowd, people get nervous. But all you have to do is post on social media, and you get 200 views. 200 goddamn people. That's still big. That's still big, bro. We're too, caught up in the millions, whatever, 100,000, big numbers. But I see people all the time who's like, dude, I saw your stuff. And it's so weird because I don't see that they're watching it. I just post it out,
Yeah, you're just running through the motion. Of
it's just out there, and they're like, dude, when you're talking about your video about this, like, yo, I think this, I think that. I'm like, oh wow, cool, you watched it.
Like, wow, like, how'd you gain access? I don't even really market it or anything, right? Like,
no, I know they follow, but even people who haven't followed me, they're like, dude, one day I just saw your video pop up. I'm like, dude, I know that guy.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, like, when you were because like I know you were doing lives for a while. Like, what was like the biggest takeaway from experimenting with that when you were doing that?
Lives, bro, they definitely get you. People notice. People like you meet people who wouldn't have otherwise seen your page. They see you on live because you had your friend on. Bro, if you could get past the bunch of times where it's just 0 people watching, there's gonna be a lot of that. You're just on live, 0 people watching. But when you open yourself out to that, you put on a live, who knows who could come on your live?
Yeah.
Someone comes on your live and then boom, all their friends see that they're in there. And now you have a bunch of people watching, a bunch of people who, and then you will, if that's the goal, gain followers. It sounds cringe, but that's really what happens. You go on live a lot. People are like, oh, I know this guy. Or, oh, cool, I like what you're talking about. Boom, they follow you. It really is. It is open up an opportunity, but you're just going to sit there for, 20 minutes sometimes. No one's watching. You're like, what am I doing this for? It is what it is. But if you could do something consistent like that, I think it's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Especially you got an offer. You're like, hey, what's up? What you doing, bro? I'm Brian and Mortgage. All right, Brian, plug your stuff, bro. Plug your stuff. What you got?
Plug my stuff. What does that mean?
Plug means to promote. Promote
Ah.
what you have. Promote where can people follow you. What offers can you provide? You know.
Okay, yeah. So, really just straight up, you could go to my website to book a consultation call. Um, my website is approvedwithbrian.com, and that's also the name of my Instagram handle. And yeah, any questions really? I mean, you're first time home buyer, you're looking for an investment property, or really you just have questions about the whole process. That's really what I do. That's what I'm there for. Um, and then if you ever, if you are a homeowner already and you want to possibly look at options and tap into the equity of your home, could refinance, could do a lot of different things in that aspect as well. But yeah, it all, it really just all starts with reaching out and seeing what's out there, right? You don't know until you ask someone something, and who knows? Who knows who you might meet? Who knows whether or not they'll be able to help you or not? But yeah, that's what I'm there for.
Awesome, man. But hey, let's get it. Right? That's
Yes, sir.
good first one, I guess.
All right, brother.
All right, man. Peace out. Peace
Lates.
out.